Geeks, gamers, nerds, and trolls, this is your MMOBomb.com first look at Stash, a game that is currently available free-to-play over on Steam. I am the man, the myth, the legend, the one they call the Noob Fridge, and today I'm going to be your tour guide as we take a look at this game, see what all it has to offer, and help you decide if it's a game that you would like to try. Now, as I said, this is available free-to-play. You can download it right now over on Steam. It's from developer Frog Dice, and this is a mix between tabletop RPG and MMO. It's actually a fairly unique take, something that when Magic Man sent it over to me, my first reaction was, oh my god, it's actually not a shooter. And of course, my second reaction was, that sounds pretty cool. Let's check it out, see what it has to offer. So the first thing we're going to do is zoom out here and head over to a dungeon and check out some of the combat, and then we'll go in, look at character creation, go into town and look at some of the merchants, and then jump into our base of operations down here. And that's where you do your crafting and you can upgrade it. It's sort of like housing instance. So when you first load into the game, you're going to spawn right about here. And you're going to get a little welcome screen and, you know, continue on your adventures, and then you're just kind of left right here, and it's a bit confusing at first. A little bit of help here is this question mark over to the bottom right. Pulls up sort of a tutorial window, a help index. And you can get a little bit of information in here that'll help you kind of get started along the way, but you're going to have to kind of go along and figure things out as you go. The first thing you're going to want to know is that this game is going to be similar to adventure tabletop games. If you're familiar with something like Runebound, or the Witcher Adventure series, something like that, then those are going to be the games that are sort of similar to what's going on here. You're going to adventure around, find things to get into, and you're going to want to have encounters, such as this dungeon right here, which is the mines. And we'll jump in. Take a look through the dungeon and encounter some of the bosses. Now, you can move two different ways here. You can move WASD, and I think if I move out here, I'm going to just encounter this boss. Let me go back outside and show this. So you can move WASD, which moves sort of a square at a time. If you hold it down, it'll go a few squares, but then when you let go, it travels an extra square or two. So you can also just point and click, and it'll go exactly where you want it to go. So there you go. Movement's pretty easy. So back into this dungeon, and the way you interact with dungeons and areas you want to go to is just walk over them. So like here's a little boss right here right at the entrance, or a little encounter, I guess I should say. He's not really a boss. So we'll jump in. We got some combat music, and I've got a handful of abilities here. I'm level 3, so I've got a basic attack, I've got a charge, I've got a self buff, which we're going to use now. It lasts for an hour. It's going to give myself strength and constitution. I am a warrior class, so strength and constitution, as you imagine, is pretty sexy for me. So we'll go ahead and activate that on myself. As you can see, now I've got this buff bar up here, and that stays for a full real-time hour, so it's not going to like leave when I leave this instance. So, all right, so we're going to walk up here and get in range of our charge ability, which only goes 3 spaces. So it's sort of a weird distance. So we'll swipe and do some damage to that enemy. As you can see, we've got a turn counter up here. Now there is some strategy involved in some of this. Some of these enemies here, and let me turn this music down, because that is seems to be very, very loud. All right, so if this enemy walks up here and they're both adjacent to me, then I will be what's called surrounded, and I will do reduced damage. Also, some of these objectives that are on the ground here, some of these objects, if, like, say I'm standing here and the enemy is here, they'll be pinned and they'll take additional damage. Also, I can be pinned with enemies. And if you're in a group, you can also flank enemies, which is stand on both sides of them, and you'll do additional damage. So you'll see as this little hedgehog thing starts coming closer to me, you should, well, this guy died. So, but if they both became adjacent to me like that, when it was my turn, what I would do is kind of take a step around so I'm not surrounded and do a little more damage, and then attack that guy. But there is a little bit of strategy. The strategy, honestly, is a little shallow in the beginning, but here again, I'm level 3. This is like the first couple of dungeons that you encounter in the game, so I don't want to judge, as you wouldn't with any MMO, the combat or the strategy too harshly in the early levels. But that being said, just know that I'm not hours into the game, so I'm not 100% certain if it gets any deeper than that, but the game has been a little addictive. So we're gonna, here's a shield, which doesn't have as much block as the one I have. We're just going to select all this and put it over here. And then we are done. And now we're back out in the dungeon to continue our adventures. We can leave the dungeon anytime we want to by going out the exit, or we do have a hearth ability here. Now, if our health gets low, we have one of two options. We can go into our inventory and find some food. We can eat some food to restore some health and mana. We can also happen to have materials that I can make a campfire here in the dungeon. I'm not going to waste those materials right now, but you do have to have separate materials to make a campfire in a dungeon and out in the world. It is two different materials. They're more expensive to make a campfire in the dungeon, and as you would expect, you will regen health and mana, and if other members of your party kind of join in on the campfire, you can trade and do things like that. So, very tabletop-esque. Here's another encounter. You can see this guy's surrounded by stars. That just means this is a public dungeon, so somebody's already in there fighting that guy. So you can see I just walk over it and nothing happens, because that encounter is already engaged. So we can just adventure through, and here's another little encounter we can do right here. All right, this has got 3 enemies. It's got more objects out there, so maybe we can see about getting somebody pinned. As you can see, I still have my buff here. I'm gonna walk. And that's not going to be close enough to engage that guy. So we'll go... I don't want to get pinned, so we'll do that. And I do have a brace, which will attack the next enemy that approaches me. The problem is they have to come in melee adjacency with me for that to go off. And a lot of times, as you can see, these guys don't do that. They just stay back at range and attack. So, all right, so there's actually 4 enemies in here. So we're going to walk here. And we'll charge this guy. Yeah, 61 damage. And I'll show you my weapon and equipment, my weapons and equipment here in just a minute. I do have a couple of little upgrades I've picked up along the way. All right, here we are. We are surrounded. So if I attack one of these guys, I'll just show you. It's going to show me a little debuff that says I'm surrounded, which means I do reduce damage. So we'll block those attacks, and this time we will walk around to the other side of this guy. And then we'll attack like this. Boom. Now obviously I'm clicking. You can hit the numbers to get these abilities to pop up on the action bar. At first I was a little confused with the action bar the very first time I came into combat. I was like, what is this ability? What is it? These should all be combat abilities. You know, that's what I'm used to in MMOs, but I do like the way once you get used to it, like if I want to attack, this is the option, and then it brings up all my options that I have right now, so. Pretty unique, because while you're in these encounters, you can do things like gather resources if there are resources available. You see I just killed that hedgehog, and he's sparkling green. That means I can harvest him for crafting materials. Because there is crafting, ladies and gentlemen. What would an MMO be without crafting? We're going to continue this combat here. Let me swing on around here and get unsurrounded. I'm holding the right click on my mouse to move my camera around. Unfortunately, like I can't control the center of where the camera is. You can zoom in and out, but zooming all the way out, all it does is give you sort of more of a top-down view. So you can do that if you prefer it like this. I prefer an angle more like this myself. All right, that dude is dead, so we actually need to... Do we have our charge? Yeah, we'll just charge. Boom! Get some of that, buddy. All right, you can also see I've got a timer up here that limits how much time I can take to take my turn. I can also delay my turn till the end of the round. I can flee combat. I can end my turn. This is the delay right here. So they're just like any turn-based game, there are some strategies that you can implement in order to change your turnaround. This is XP right here. As this bar fills, every time this bar fills up, one of these diamonds fill up. When all these diamonds fill up, boom, you level up. Level up does give an instant health increase and mana increase, fills your bars back up, and I've been getting new abilities so far. So I'm not sure if you get a new ability every single level, but all 3 levels that I've hit so far, I've gotten a new ability. So there we are, we finished up. Now, before we end, we're going to want to try to harvest. Your attempt to harvest shabby leather failed because my harvesting is great. I don't think that guy actually had anything on him. I think they have to be glowing green. The green sparkles to harvest anything. So at the end, we just click on the chest. And here's our fat loots. Also, this is triads. This is the currency in the game. There is a cash shop we'll take a look at here in a minute, but this is the in-game currency. And things like campfire and stuff, you can open up the cash shop and buy those. Right here. There's the campfire. As you can see, you can get those with triads or cash shop currency. There are weapons in this cash shop. The good news is they're all costumes, only cosmetics, because that's the stuff we like. Cash shop currency only. As you can see, some of these actually, you can look at them on your character. Like they've actually, I like the fact that they've spent a lot of time on the cosmetics to actually make them look pretty cool. So, and I'm clicking the thing instead of the preview. But yeah, I mean the costume weapons actually look pretty cool. Other things that are on here, there's your campfires. You've got crafting materials. These are for your base of operations. Buy XP boosts, convenience items, summoning stones. Let's see, customization for your character. This is the sort of the top of your base. If you're familiar with like the base that you're standing on, your figure standing on. Like I chose the stone at the beginning, so it's currently the only one I have, but I can buy the rest of them through the cash shop. You've got mounts, which I haven't played with at all. As you can see, I don't have anywhere near enough tries to see how a mount does, so sorry about that. Pets, which currently doesn't have anything on it, so it looks like a feature that's coming later. And storage, bags. You can also upgrade your stash in your base of operations to hold all your crafting materials. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute, too. We've been invited to a party. Sorry, I don't want to join your party because I'm probably fixing to head out. So there's a sort of a look at dungeons, and now we can use this ability right here to hearth back out to town. And we'll go in and take a look at town real quick. As you can see, we can go, we can adventure around on this map. I'll show that real quick. Movement does get a little funny. This is a resource node. If you have the proper gathering tools, we could just go in and interact with it. I don't have the right tools right now. Didn't pick enough of tools. Oh, somebody's in that one. All the little stars are there, but if somebody wasn't in it, you could go in it, and if you have the proper resource tools, you can just gather the resource that's in there. It does open a separate instance, and then you have to come back out of it, but that's how you gather resources. So we'll go. There's another thing we can go in. So we're going to go into town, though. Maybe. Pathing. We're going to go into town and show off some of that, because this is where all the vendors, crafting masters, and all that is at. So this is town. You can move the camera around in here too if you want to. This is a taskmaster. Best I can tell, like this is like crafting dailies. So we're gonna go over. So far, I've only been able to have one crafting profession. I chose armorer, and luckily enough, I start out making all leather armor. And seeing as how I'm a warrior, I can't actually use any of that stuff. So that's annoying. But these are the crafting vendors where you choose which type of crafting you want to do. These are stalls. Everybody can make their own little stall, which is like their own little auction house. And then the game has like a central newspaper where you can take out ads and advertise some of the things that you're selling in your little stall and get people to come to your stall to purchase. So if I wanted to buy something, I was looking earlier, like if I wanted to buy health potions, some folks have those at different prices. So you definitely want to shop around. Like these many health potions, that's 500. There was another guy on this list who had them for, and I forget which one it was, and they're for 800, 850 for this guy's many health potions. So you definitely want to shop around in the stalls, and you can open your own stall when you're in your base of operations, which we'll go take a look at here in just a minute. So this is where you can buy some very basic food. This is like strength increasing food, dexterity increasing food, depending on what class you are. And also, you can sell your junk. So anything that's in red I can't use. Like, if I want to just sell that, I can sell that. Wow, that's actually an upgrade. I think we'll hang on to that. I don't see anything else. We got a two-handed weapon too that I'm high enough level to use now. Need to be level 3 and I couldn't use it when I first got it, but so I'm gonna hang on to both of those because we got upgrades. So there's your in town. You do not regenerate health and mana in town. You would have to drop a world campfire or eat some food. I was kind of hoping maybe if I just, walked all the way back into town, it would regen health and mana for me. But no, you're going to have materials to do all that. So now we're going to walk over and take a look at Base of Operations. So here we go. It threw me off a little bit because I was expecting my character to be standing in here. He doesn't actually stand in here. So this is a crafting thing that I've thrown down. This is for my armorer, for my crafting. Here is your stash. You can store all your crafting materials. So I could like go to crafting materials and throw those in here if I've got room for them. Now let's go to a thing where I don't have enough room. Okay, so my stash is full, 21 of 21. Okay, so I want to upgrade that. So it's going to cost me a nail, a plank, and a brick, which is some of those materials I was just getting by completing the dungeons. I wasn't even necessarily gathering those. They were just part of the loot I was getting for completing dungeon encounters. I'll just confirm.
Awesome.
And my stash just went up one whole slot. So there you go. Now I can put this footstool in there. Woohoo. All right. So I think I can upgrade my base right now. So we're going to hit the upgrade. We're going to upgrade this. Maybe not. Okay, maybe I don't have everything. I thought I had enough to do something here. Upgrade my stall, upgrade my stash. All right, so maybe I don't have what I need to do everything. I was not as prepared as I thought I was gonna be. So I don't have any of this. Your coins, 489. So it's gonna cost 100. Shingles, and I'm missing some planks. I've got the bricks and the nails. I don't have blocks. I don't have any of that stuff. I hit purchase. Oh, well, it did it anyway. How about that? All right, look at there. It upgraded from a bed to a tent. Okay. So this is your build. This is how I put the this crafting foundry out there. If it's available to be put out in your base of operations, it'll be over in this window, and you can drag it and drop it somewhere. This is going to be, obviously right now it's early level, so you're not seeing a lot going on here, and I don't have 100% grasp of what's going on in this, but this is key to upgrading your character and your progression, is upgrading your base of operations where you can do better crafting. You can come in and drop other materials. So it is going to be important as you go. We are just really early on in the game, as usual, for a first look, ladies and gentlemen. Not a full review, a first look. And so that's going to be pretty much the basics of it. We've covered the auction houses, the cash shop. We've taken a look at that. The biggest thing here is this help index isn't the greatest thing in the world, and the wiki just on the internet is maybe not the greatest thing in the world right now either. So ask in chat. The folks in chat have seemed very helpful so far. There are some folks playing this game, people hanging out, being very talkative. So just if you're interested in checking it out, you can just do so for free on Steam and just adventure around and see what you think. Personal opinion time, it feels a little early accessy to me, even though it's technically full launch. And I don't necessarily mean that and like it's horrible. I just mean like it feels like it's not 100% feature complete. There's a few things that don't work quite like I would think they would work, and maybe some of the tutorials and the help indexes could be a little better, but and maybe some of the strategy, I'm hoping later on, some of the strategy in combat gets a little more in-depth, because right now it's a little bland, it's a little repetitive, a little dull and boring. Oh, one thing we do want to take a look at before we go is character sheet. Well, this is my character. This is the equipment I have right now. Obviously, I've got this sword upgrade, so I'll probably just take that, drag that over there. Now I got this new sword that does more damage. Look at me. And one thing, if you know anything about me and MMOs, one thing I'm a huge fan of is frickin' costumes. I love playing dress up with my characters. So I don't have anything I can slide in any of the armor slots right now, but like the sword. All right, so I can put this axe back over here. And now it looks like the axe, but I've still got the stats of the sword. And you can just turn off certain pieces if you don't like them. Not that I have a helmet to turn off, but I mean, you can just run around naked. If that's your thing, you just want to run around naked, just do that. So there you go. So there's your costuming. Here's your customization, where if you had like the peg base, things like that. Titles, poses. You get to choose one pose in character creation. And let's see. And rewards, if you get level up rewards, they're going to be in there. Tasks is sort of your quest. There's your stats if you want to look at it. And real quick before we go, let's log out and look at character creation. All right, so it's not super in-depth, but I know there's going to be some folks who want to see it, so we'll check that out real quick. You can choose different races. A couple of them are gender locked, like the catfolk are female only. Humans can be male or female. Dryads are only female. The Trollocs, which is the thing I was playing, the stone dude, he's only male. The Lakoi, the wolf dudes who look depressed as fuck, by the way. Change some faces. Change some hairstyles. Hair color, eye color, skin color. So nothing super in-depth. Just the ability to sort of change the way your character looks. And we'll just run through humans real quick because I know a lot of folks just want to play a human. Darker skin tones. And then your heritage over here to the side, you can see that it's for flavor only. And the racial bonuses, it flat out tells you this racial stat bonus is small and does not make any race a superior choice for any class. Oh, I don't know why they even exist, but so you can play an elementalist, a healer, a hunter, or a warrior, which is what I was playing. I want to try out a couple of the other classes and see if maybe those are a little more interesting. But that's going to do it for this MMOBomb.com first look at Stash. One more time, free to play on Steam currently. I can't say that I don't like it right now. I want to play a little further and see if it gets a little more interesting later on, see if it gets a little more in-depth as far as combat-wise. So I'm definitely interested in checking out. It is as cool as I thought it was going to be. It's very unique. So, I don't know. We're going to have to play it some more before we can make like a final judgment. But this is a first look. This is to give you a glance at the game and help you decide if it's something you want to play. So you can do so for free on Steam right now. As always, be sure to head over to MMO.com for all your free-to-play gaming news, information, first looks, podcasts. We've got you covered in the free-to-play universe. I have been the Noob Fridge, Troy Blackburn. You can check me out on twitch.tv/NoobFridge, streaming all the video games. Thank you so much. This first look at Stash is done, and I am out.